Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tewksbury Select Board meeting for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. The time is 7 p.m. At this time, I'd ask everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on our agenda, we have a Verizon cable television license discussion of renewal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's also a public hearing associated with this renewal. An ascertainment process has already been conducted, and the provisions of the contract that we're looking at, very similar to the last one we had, with the exception of the cable fees going up from 3.5% to 4%. And that is, I think, necessary because if you look at the trend of the revenue for cable revenues, it's going down a little bit. So we want to try to flatten that out so we can maintain the revenue resource that we have. So that's 0.5 or 50 cents per subscriber. And then also the capital is pretty much level funded. It's 171,000. I'm just going to have Robert hand you out this is the highlights of the contract itself. And the one I like is the high definition channel. The option to do a high definition channel is in the contract as well. It doesn't change the standard definition channels that you already have. And provisions on capital features restricted to obviously to capital things only. And that's it. That's basically the highlights of the contract. There are some provisions in here if our other contract is lower, that they basically want to be able to reopen it, but we don't anticipate that to happen. And Brian Dorrington's here, who's been involved in the process as well. So they asked Brian to if he wants to add anything to it, and they also have Bill August here as well, virtually, and he can add to us if Brian misses anything.
Brian Dorrington, Telemedia Director. This is definitely a great contract for Verizon and Tewksbury. It keeps us well-funded for the next 5 years. I think it's fair. I think that Verizon, John Harrington from Verizon has been great, and our attorney, Bill August, has been wonderful as well. And he's here right now, and I'm sure he's got some things to say. So, Bill, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, good, thank you. Good. Continue, Brian, though, because you're making a good presentation.
Yeah, so some of the highlights John already mentioned is we're going to be getting 4% of their Verizon's gross revenue. The capital is front-loaded over the course of the first 2 years of a 5-year contract, which is actually, really beneficial for us in case that Verizon decides to opt out. They have that ability. So that front-loaded capital keeps us funded, and I think that this is an advantageous contract for the town and Verizon, and I hope that we can keep working together with them. Bill, did you have anything to add?
I think that Manager Curran and Brian Dorrington covered the highlights. There is much more in the license, but for the other provisions in terms of basic administrative, right-of-way management, insurance, strong indemnification, bond, those are carried over from the current license. So that which has worked well. There have not been any issues or problems with the terms and conditions of the existing license. So to be cost effective, both the town and Verizon wanted to use the current license and continue it. However, just as Manager Curran said, with some slippage in the subscriber base, we wanted to tweak up the financial commitment to those important local channels. So the 3.5% of gross revenues did go up to 4% of gross annual revenues of Verizon payable to the town for PEG access. And there was a modest increase in the capital funding too, which went up from 150,000 to 171,000. But the lion's share of the funding is in the 4%. The capital is in addition to the 4% of gross revenues. And the town will have its first ever high definition local channel, and that's being added on as a fourth channel. So there is some growth here. There's growth in the capital, there's growth in the annual, and there's a growth in the number of local channels. The capital funding is slightly higher than Comcast's on a per subscriber per capita basis. So it is a strong and beneficial license. The number of local channels is higher than Comcast's. There are 4 local channels under this upcoming license. And the other provisions that I mentioned are continued, are very comprehensive and cover most of the major categories. I just especially want to thank everyone involved, the manager's office, Paula, Manager Curran, Brian Dorrington. You can imagine in the course of a renewal, there are like a lot of little twists and turns on this language and that clause and getting information to justify the budgets. And they could not have been more helpful, really. And I also have to tip my hat to John Harrington from Verizon, who, if he could just introduce himself. John, I don't know if you can hear us okay. He's here remotely. They're great. They were great renewal partners. They listened to everything and tried to meet us halfway.
Thank you,
I will
Bill.
just mention, it is a non-exclusive license. A lot of people assume, oh, you only have 2 companies. They must have some special arrangement. It's totally non-exclusive. So if there were other competition, that would be great. And the last thing I'll mention is, of course, people always care most about, the rate increases. I guess affordability is the word of the year right now, and inflation. But the town and the town is not legally allowed to regulate the rate. So if there's anyone out there concerned about rate increases, you're in good company, but the licensing process does not allow us. That was deregulated as part of one of the deregulation laws in 2019. So we can't touch the rates, but in the other areas, we're looking good. John, are you here just to introduce yourself as a resource to the town?
Absolutely, Bill. John Harrington, representing Verizon New England. I just won't take the board's time, but I want to reiterate the talent of the team that negotiated this contract. Is extremely knowledgeable and very responsive. So I'd like to thank everyone involved.
Thank you.
And if I could just add one more thing, just so the residents know, we're currently asking 4% for the cable franchise revenue. We're allowed to go up to 5%, but we didn't want to go that high because we don't want to have too much of a tax on the residents. So we're not taxing to the max. It's not necessarily a tax, it's a fee, but we're not going to the max. So we are keeping that a little bit lower for residents than a lot of other surrounding communities to make the cable more affordable.
Anything else? All right, seeing that this is a public hearing and it's opening, I'm going to make an opening statement just to make sure we clarify with this. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Tewksbury public hearing on the Verizon Cable license renewal. By way of background, For the public, state law requires the holding of a select board public hearing prior to possible final action on a proposed renewal license. The purpose of the hearing is to allow public comment on the town needs in proposed renewal license. Notice of this hearing was in the local newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks, and copies of the notices will be entered into the hearing record as hearing Exhibit 1 and 2. A copy of the proposed Verizon license as negotiated with the town is Exhibit 3. Based on the information and testimony before us, in the record of the prior public hearing, the Select Board may take final action or approve or reject the proposed non-exclusive Tewksbury Verizon license renewal. Comment from the public and other interested persons should be directed through myself, and I will rule whether they are in order. Before getting started, I just want to make sure that we take public comments. I just want to thank Brian and everybody from Verizon and John who went together and worked on this. At this time, I want to open it up to the public, and it's a public hearing, so would anybody like to be heard on this motion? Seeing none. I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right.
Could I note there is a motion, if the board is so inclined, to take final action on the license that was circulated, but that's up to you.
Well, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the board. Questions and concerns? And Mr. Russo?
No, I have none. I appreciate the efforts that were put into this. The agreements here tonight, it seems in good working order from my perspective. I don't have any questions.
Any other comments from the board?
I have just a quick question. It says here on the impact, it provides front-loaded capital investment during the first 2 years of a 5-year term. So we get the $171,000 per year just for 2 years?
You get $171,000 over 2 years.
Yeah, I believe it's approximately 57,000 per payment.
For 3 payments, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the 4% is every year of the license.
Okay, and on that 4%, how does that level off against what our revenue has been? Since people are cutting the cord, is that going to keep us in flux with revenue that will balance your budget?
Yes, yeah. This revenue will keep us, combined with the Comcast revenue, this will keep us afloat and fund our operations, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You may recall, we did the budget presentation, and there was a slide in there about revenue in the last 3 years. You can see that it kind of gone down by like, I don't know, maybe $10,000 or $15,000 a year. So this change will, sort of level it off and keep us in the same revenue we've been used to, which is adequate for us to fund all the resources we have.
Okay.
But that's given current technologies and trends. It's there are uncertainties in the way new technologies explode and come and go. So there are unknowns about that down the road.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
You know that there could be some artificial intelligence television that takes over the world. We don't know what's happening with new technologies. No one does.
Okay. Do we have any other comments? Mackie?
Mr. August, thank you. You actually hit my question square on the head. I always ask about the subscriber numbers. I was able to pull some public data from the state of Massachusetts. It looks like Verizon has lost about 100,000 subscribers for cable television since this last
Statewide, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
statewide, correct, yeah, statewide.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to find anything at the municipal level. If we can get that data, that would be very helpful.
What, for Tewksbury? Yeah, we have that.
I would love to see that. Otherwise,
That's on the same spreadsheet that's at the state DTC. You can click by community there and get it. Yeah.
perfect. Awesome.
But yeah, and one, I mean, the decline in subscribership, impact on revenues, is somewhat offset by the rate increases, because so if the subscribership goes down, I don't know, 5%, but the rates go up, that can offset it to some extent. So it's not a absolutely linear decrease based on the number of subscribers lost.
Absolutely.
It's-
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm more
okay.
thinking forward from our first
Yeah.
discussion a little over 5 years ago with the
Yeah.
advent of everyone cutting the cord. Where do we
Yeah.
go maybe on the next contract, right? Just trying to kind of
Yeah.
forward think on that.
Yes,
Other than that, my only comment is we did just get this agreement at 2 PM today. So I would like to table this before we vote on it until our next meeting, but that's just me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I think, front-loading the contract, great idea, obviously. Brian, I do have a question. Do we have the equipment, obviously, with the ability of getting a high-definition channel, do we have the equipment to be able to provide that high-definition service?
We do now. We haven't always in the past, but we have done some infrastructure upgrades. And it's going to be a work in progress to set. There's a few different ways you can go. You can have one HD channel that's just its own channel, or you can simulcast, say, make the government channel an HD channel as well. And we also want to make sure that that lines up with our Comcast agreement, because we want to make sure we have the same channels for both. So that's going to be discussion on what we want to do in terms of programming on that. But now this gives us the flexibility to, upon our request, have an HD channel with both Verizon and Comcast. So that's definitely some progress moving forward for sure.
Okay, thank you, and, I appreciate the hard work that goes behind this, and, Verizon working with us to get that rate up.
Yeah.
To, continue to maintain the level of service that you provide to the residents, and it is, Tewksbury is very fortunate to have the abilities to have this, and great streaming from you and your staff on high school sporting events, government events. So that's a great feature for the residents of town. So
I agree.
That's
Thank you.
all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, and great job.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate all the comments. This is a typical contract that we go through each year, but, one of the things I do want to bring up is I'm very happy that you resolved the issue that you were having with Fox, because during the football season, we had some pretty unhappy people that we weren't able to watch the games because it got blacked out, and that got resolved in early February. So that's, I don't know if there's a way to, I don't understand why it would happen to one cable company and not the other, and I understand it's a contract negotiation with yourself, but, when people have Verizon, I can understand why, some people may have switched over, and that may explain some of those numbers coming off locally. All right, I really don't have any other comments on that at this time. I'll open it up to the board if anybody has any recommendations or motions on the matter.
I will, Mr. Chair, Mr. Mackey had question or made a suggestion about tabling it. I'm open to what other board members, I feel confident that that the agreement is satisfactory based upon the revenue, but I'm open to what other members are willing to do.
Mr. Mackey, would you like to make that a formal motion to table it to the next meeting?
I'll make a motion to table it till our next meeting.
Okay. So I have a motion. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. I got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much. Like I said, if we got this a little bit sooner, maybe we could have had a better dialogue, but it was brought to us late, and, I appreciate us doing our due diligence before signing contract. So, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Brian.
thank you all.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Bill, John.
All right, so
Okay.
can we put this on our next agenda? Just
Yes.
schedule this, and we'll have it scheduled on a, if that's available. Okay. At this time, I'm going to open it up to residents. Do we have any residents that would like to be heard? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go into new business. YMCA lease agreement extension.
All right, Mr. Chairman, this is just an extension, a one-year extension of the lease with the YMCA for recreational programming. So it just makes sense at this time to extend that lease, and I was just looking for a vote of the board to do that, and I have the document here to sign for the one-year extension.
All right, do we have any questions or comments from the board?
I have none.
I just have one. This is the last year of this, of the initial term that we had. Is that correct, Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Yeah. I know we had some discussions talking about working with the YMCA to add additional services, and I know the school department has also been looking to figure out what they're doing for some aftercare for school. So I got no problem like working through this final lease, but I think we should probably have a conversation with the school department before getting into a new lease to make sure that we
Okay.
see that, all needs of the community is being met.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just have one note. I think since bringing the YMCA on, the activities over there, they've been doing school vacations. I've heard a lot of great positive feedback from the residents. So I think this is great to continue that relationship. And then when we, again, as Mr. Kratman stated, the ability to add those additional services for the next contract would be another great benefit to the community.
All right, does anybody else have any comments or concerns? All right, I'll listen to any motions on this matter.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement between the town of Tewksbury and the YMCA of Greater Lowell.
I'll second that.
So I got a motion and I got a second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We get
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please, okay. Next thing we have MCOG. Representatives, I see.
Jen Rait's here, she's going to make a presentation, and we're happy to have you.
Thank you for having us.
And
I'm Jennifer Raitt. I'm the Executive Director of Northern Middlesex Council of Governments. Nice to see you all.
Hi, and I'm Kelly Leinema. I am the Deputy Director of Northern Middlesex Council of Governments. Good to see you.
Welcome.
If you could bring up the presentation we submitted, that would be great.
I know they had it up on the thing, so I don't know if they're doing it in the back.
Is it what? Is it on my computer?
It's in the packet.
Yeah, it's the back.
We're here tonight to give our annual report presentation. So this will be just a snapshot of who is NIMCOG, what do we do, and what have we done in Tewksbury for the last year?
Right.
What are we, both at the local level, and then also what are we doing at NIMCOG regionally? And then what are we planning in the coming year with Tewksbury as well? And then an opportunity, if you should have any, to answer any of your questions or receive any feedback, of course.
Mr. Chair, one of the residents, are you having a hard time hearing, sir? If you could just speak a little bit louder.
Oh,
I know
absolutely.
things echo in here, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know.
Oh, shit.
All right. Well, I just introduced that, so we'll just keep scrolling forward. And a little bit about NIMCOG. We, as you all likely know from speaking with us in prior years, but for the purpose of this presentation, it's also to the entire community or anybody watching. NIMCOG is the regional planning agency. We were established in 1963, and our goal is to increase municipal capacity, which has many meanings, but primarily to foster regional cooperation and coordination, and as you can see here, providing direct technical assistance to our local member communities, as seen here on the screen, these 9 communities, and also regional planning services throughout to all of the member communities, or to benefit them. We have a governing body of 18 members, and its representatives from throughout this region. And in the past year, actually, we adopted our first strategic plan, which is a 3-year plan. It's hyperlinked from this document, should you be interested in reviewing it in greater detail. But just to give you a snapshot, the top 3 strategic priorities are to mobilize and accelerate local and regional plan attainment and goals, meaning that we want to work with you on your plans, but then we hope that you'll also see to the implementation strategies moving forward, and perhaps, success in terms of attaining funding or project completion or advancement of, conversations in the community towards a comprehensive master plan. Who knows? There might be various goals that you have. We want to both help you to do the plans themselves and then help you to implement them. So that attainment is kind of critical to that particular priority. We also we identify as being a lead in regional collaboration, advocacy, and engagement, and that has come across in multiple ways, including advocacy across the region on behalf, in partnership with all of the member communities on things such as advocating for increases to Chapter 70 funds, Chapter 90 funds, various legislative acts that have been proposed and weighing in on them when necessary in order to foster the betterment of the region. Also, we seek to engage all of our area town managers and administrators, our area planners, in conversation and in consultation with NIMCOG in order to better understand what it is the local goals might be and how those relate to the broader region. And then the last priority, of course, is just somewhat internal facing, but to ensure that NIMCOG itself is healthy and able to grow as an agency to better serve the region. And so we've, if you keep going, we have local designees, as I mentioned, throughout the region. So each community has a representative from their select board, or in the case of Lowell, the city council. Richard Russo has been serving as our select board representative. Thank you. Jonathan Champa as the planning board representative, and Alex Lauder, town staff, is our alternate. And then if you keep going, Kelly is actually going to talk about our work with the town and also a little bit about our region and what we're doing there, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. Thanks, Jenny. So I'm not going to talk about every single one of these projects, but just to highlight a few, over the last year, we assisted the town in kicking off the Open Space and Recreation Plan update. This is a new 10-year plan now, not 5 or 7. It's a 10-year plan to look at your open spaces and conservation lands and plan ahead for how you want to both maintain and conserve those areas, and also make them more accessible to the public. We assisted your planning board and your planning staff with reviewing and evaluating whether or not it was the right time to pursue funding for the next master plan. At this time, it doesn't seem like the town is going to go forward with that, but we remain ready to assist the town in both applying for grants and assisting with the implementation, or actually guiding the development of that plan should the town become ready to do so. We created a digital equity plan with Mass Broadband Institute, and that's really to ensure that residents across our region have equitable access to the internet, and it's the way that we conduct our daily lives. So making sure that particularly seniors, people who live in affordable housing, people who just don't have access to the internet or technology, get access to those devices and to that kind of technology. We assist with green communities reporting, and then we also assist in a compliance, in a kind of a compliance measure with our Regional Housing Services Office. And that's to really help our communities maintain their subsidized housing inventories, and both so that you can reach and achieve your 10% housing goal, but then also look for opportunities to provide housing for the residents in each of our communities that are most in need of it and least can afford it. we created a jobs accessibility analysis on behalf of the LRTA, and that was to really help the LRTA understand, do their current bus routes align with where people live and where they work? So this is really to look at service alignment and make recommendations based on that. We also work closely with, we serve as staff to the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and that's a body that flows through cash funding from Federal Highway and from MassDOT for roadway improvements. And so that funding is directly benefiting the town through projects that are currently on our transportation improvement program, the improvements at Shawshene Street, Foster Road, Patton Road, and Beach Street, and then another project that is later on in the tip at Main and Pleasant and North and East Street, as well as regional projects that are on the statewide transportation improvement program. And we do that also through our regional traffic counting program, and that's where we take traffic counts to understand changes, longitudinal changes to traffic congestion, speed management, and those kind of issues that can or should be addressed through roadway improvements. If you go to the next page, we do a lot of work at a regional level, and so that exists through our Northern Middlesex Stormwater Collaborative. That's a collaborative of all of our 9 communities plus 2 more outside of our region, where we help with compliance with MS4 permitting. I believe a number of you helped in public meetings and workshops around Greater Lowell Stronger Together. That's our region-wide economic development strategy. And that looks at everything from larger business parks, how do we support and enhance their growth and maintain the businesses that currently operate in those parks, but also looking at smaller mom and pop businesses in our town centers, and how do we actually support the region and make sure that we're thriving economically and as a place for people to live and work. I know Chris Hayes and I were here last fall talking to you about At Home in Greater Lowell, which is our regional housing strategy. We've completed phase 1 of that report and are now moving into phase 2, which will include toolkit elements, a storytelling component, and then helping with implementation of those various goals that we talked to you last fall about. On the transportation front, about 2 years ago, we completed a long-range transportation plan. That's Envision 2050. And from that plan, we moved on to develop the Greater Lowell Vision Zero plan. And that's a plan that envisions a future where by 2050, we have 0 traffic-related fatalities or serious injuries. And that includes recommendations for increasing safety on roadways all across the region, including in Tewksbury. And that plan helped us in advancing our current planning effort, which is going on right now, which is the Greater Lowell Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan. So we have representatives from nearly all of our communities on an advisory committee meeting. And I also want to extend a personal thank you to all of the Tewksbury residents who both attended our public workshops that we held last summer and last fall. And Alex Lauder helped to secure us a place at the Tewksbury Farmers Market. So we engaged with several hundred residents at that market to understand where people wanted to see better areas for walking and biking throughout the town. And then finally, we maintain an LRTA bus stop inventory to understand accessibility. And then we're continuing to do ongoing work with that regional digital equity plan and meeting with our local managers, like Jenny mentioned, to understand issues of regional importance that each of our town managers and the city manager in Lowell's case are dealing with on a daily basis.
All right. Next. So what's next? So as Kelly mentioned, we kicked off the open space and recreation plan, and we're continuing that work. Also mentioned that we're continuing At Home in Greater Lowell. The other thing that we are in phase 2 of is actually a watershed study of the lower Merrimack River, and it'll basically create a model that will help us to better understand the watershed, some of the deficiencies and culverts and other structures within that area, and also identify opportunities for potential funding or capital or enhancements to make it more resilient. We also will continue to offer and provide the town with green communities support. And then also we're planning to pilot a TIP funding program, which Kelly will talk about briefly, and then we'll ask if you have any questions.
Yeah. So one of the things we've realized that our communities struggle with is getting projects onto the transportation improvement program, because it costs a lot to do the pre-construction activities of design and engineering. And so we're piloting a program this year, and we've been talking with municipal engineers about how we can use our TIP funding to help communities pay for the cost of design. And so in this case, 80% of a total cost of design contract would be covered by Federal Highway for eligible projects, with the community only have to pitch in that 20% to cover design. So that takes off a lot of expense for our local communities in getting projects into a state of tip readiness. We've had a shortage of pipeline projects, so we've been working on that. We're also creating a program for micro projects, and that's to help fund trail improvements, bike racks, bike and ped infrastructure. And so this would be a smaller program on our transportation improvement program. But we also know a lot of communities struggle to pay, when you have limited Chapter 90 funds, you're going to put those toward resurfacing and filling potholes. And oftentimes sidewalks and bike lanes kind of fall onto the wayside. And so we're trying to find ways to help implement the plans, our Greater Lowell Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan and our Vision Zero plan by providing funding sources to actually implement those projects.
All right, and we thank you very much for the time this evening and are glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This time, I'm going to open up to the board. I'll start with you, Mr. Russo, since you're a representative.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming in tonight. So just from my perspective, in terms of infrastructure and I think of capacity, right? And there's a lot of talk about housing and the different things that you guys regionally are looking at. And I know, Kelly, you've been here, and some of your colleagues have been here talking about housing in terms of the things that NIMCOG is doing as a whole for the region. How can we as a select board continue to help support the goals of NIMCOG regionally, but equally, obviously, we have a vested interest in Tewksbury specifically, of course. And again, I understand that those goals and visions might be different locally and town by town. And I know, we have some cities within our district, if you will. But how can we continue to support that? And as a select board, if there's anything specific that we can do locally, I'd be curious to kind of hear that from you guys, from your perspective.
That's a really good question. I'm thinking a second,
I think the main, it is an excellent question, and I just want to make sure I understand it, how the town can support the regional goals, but also
But we as a select board too, I want to make sure that we.
Select board specifically, okay.
Yeah.
I think the first thing always is participation. Your voice, and that could be meaning showing up to meetings or providing, feedback to us and through other mechanisms, which of course could be email or some other way of, providing information directly to us as we're working on projects, whether it's, commenting on something or, whatever it might be. But your participation, I would say, is the most important thing, because that's that two-way back and forth of here's what we're thinking about, here's what we're doing, and you might say, okay, this is what, you might look at it this way, or you might have value. I'm guessing you would have very valuable information to share with us that would be helpful as we are developing various things, whether it's related to housing or transportation or anything else. And as Kelly noted, we had very active participation in the regional bike ped plan from people within Tewksbury. I don't know the extent to which the board has looked at that document or various documents. There's networks, and individual sections of the network are available. That might, that is an area where things could be, your participation is critical. I think also if you are receiving information from us, for example, we, at our monthly council meetings, I provide a monthly report. And if that monthly report is then shared across the board, and if there are questions about that report, I think that is another way to both communicate two ways, but also, perhaps ask questions about any particular interesting projects that are happening across the region, not just in the town. And that might then flag how you could support those regional goals, because you'll see within the report many different instances of activities that we're working on. So I would say participation is key. Sharing of documents would be, sort of an element to that. And just, in general, if you have a particular question or, interest in any of the areas that we are working in, we welcome your, engagement further or, follow up directly with any one of you to answer any questions. say those are the primary things that I can
And I
think of.
think one other area in regards to communication and feedback, I think understanding your priorities. So our regional plans, they're broad, and not everything might be applicable to your community. But we do try to help our towns and the city of Lowell in implementing things. And so if we understand what your priorities are, you may not agree with every single element in every single plan. Nobody ever does. But really, I think help us help you by understanding what your priorities are and how we can support you in implementing these things locally.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ryder?
Yeah, thank you very much for coming, and looking forward to seeing that next phase of that report that we'll see on the housing. I know that's critical in every community. It's critical and controversial, so all one and the same. So looking forward to seeing that final report. But again, thank you very much for coming in, and appreciate all the hard work you guys do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mackey?
Thank you. Thank you for the report. I don't have any questions for you guys, but appreciate you coming out, appreciate the feedback, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Mr. Holland?
I have no questions. I just want to thank you for the report, but I actually do have one question. Is there any consideration with the 9 communities that are involved? I know we have, if there's a fire, Tewksbury will go to Billerica will go to Tewksbury, vice versa. And the police, the same. What about the DPWs? Is there any, we might not need a paver. And Lowell might have a paver we could borrow. Is there anything in the pipeline that would be like community sharing? If we had a piece of equipment, we were lucky a few years ago, Bill Ricker let us borrow a pump because our pump croaked. And we were able to use it, and they sent personnel over to. Is there anything in the pipeline for planning something like that?
So the monthly meeting with the town managers and administrators is an opportunity to potentially explore regionalization or shared services or ways of sharing or working together. And that has frequently come up as an option, is, sharing equipment or other resources and things of that nature. We can certainly elevate that question again back to the group and see if there are other opportunities to, engage at that regional level, but specifically to DPW.
Okay, thank you.
There is nothing currently right now that we are working on related to that.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I think it's, I look forward to you coming in and giving us updates on these type of things, especially the accessibilities. I'm looking at some of the TIP projects that are coming up in the future. I know the North Street Bridge is supposed to be replaced, and we got a hotel that's being built up there right now, and so timing and all those things for our economic development is always important. I appreciate you going to the farmers market and taking the time and talking with the residents. We became part of like the Complete Streets project, and we took advantage of that funding. And so when we're doing our sidewalks, you're under the guidelines of the state mandates of what you're doing, because if you're going to get 400,000, you have to follow all the guidelines. But residents have constantly asked for connectivity. I've heard that almost at every time I've gone. We build sidewalks, but it doesn't connect to something. And that's something that we really need to work on. I appreciate the board when we negotiate some contracts with the billboard companies. And part of the things that we did is that all the funding from the billboards are going to roadway improvements and sidewalk and things. So all that funding was voted on at town meeting. And so we have a couple of them. We have one up and second one's in the pipeline. And that funding will be instrumental in adding additional sidewalks in there. And, we're always looking to keep the sidewalks open year round as well. And so to Mr. Holland's thing, specifically, it's difficult to work with other communities. I understand that with, working like a big pool of just the town ourselves. we have school department equipment, water department, DPW, and we need to work better ourselves at sharing equipment, but working with municipalities. But specifically when we get to, seasonal things where, maybe that's something that, we know that, you're going to buy a sidewalk plow, and, and it's costly. And, is there something that, that could be used in an area where if we buy these type of things, we can share the cost to get additional because it's only used at certain times of the year? But those are specific things that would be very helpful that, we're always looking to try to open up more sidewalks, and we're always challenged with that as well. Those are the type of things I'd like to hear about. And I heard your message about the bus lines. I know that Wilmington is not covered under MCOG, but, the LRTA has expanded service in that. That's going to greatly impact Tewksbury because the ridership's you're going to have a lot more going to, because now it'll continue on and you can go to Leahy Clinic and the Burlington Mall, and I'm hoping to get some notices out to inform the public. So I don't know if MCOG does that. It works with the LRTA, but when that service is up, and if you could work to get some messaging with that, so that we could share on our website to get out, that would be very helpful. And the last thing I just want to talk about is that, we talk about housing, and I agree. Some of this, these projects work wonderful in certain communities. There's a great need for it. And I've been on a housing board for 30 years in Boston doing it. And some places it works, in some places it doesn't. Not every community is the same. So not one idea fits every single community. But some of these communities it works wonderful for. It's just there's a need for housing. There's nobody doubted there's a need for housing. As a matter of fact, Tewksbury's building housing all over the place as we speak. I wish there was better communications on taking that into consideration, but that's not your job. But when we're trying to put an analysis out and we're trying to get the residents' input, we just want to make sure that we're trying to get funding to what we need. There's going to be some difficulties, it seems, in the future for grants coming to us. This time of year, there's always those legislative, it's election year. So we're always going to see those legislative bills that go through, $50,000 for an intersection improvement here, or and majority of those things never go forward because it's a recommendation, but it never really gets funded. So a lot of people read in the newspaper and think, oh, great, they're going to do this intersection, and then they get frustrated when they don't see that it's happening. If that stuff does come forward and it comes across your desk, can you make sure that it's communicated clearly to town manager so we can follow up on those type of things? I would hate to see there is something that was filed under, we got 3 reps and a senator, and we just want to make sure if something does get filed and that we can take advantage of it, we'd love to be able to do so. If we have to draft letters in support, we'll do so, but just if it's that time of the year, and we just want to make sure that we're following up on that. But other than that, I thank you very much. This is very, very informative. The residents want to see, additional improvements to our community. We're always looking for sidewalks, specifically on 38. If there's any kind of additional grants or any of that's available that we can take advantage of, we'd love to know about it and make sure we can do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
For your
time.
time, and thank you to the staff for making this happen.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Kelly, Jen.
All right. Next on our agenda, we have a special municipal employee, Randy. Ms. Curran, do you want to mention anything
Yes,
else?
so this is, comes up from time to time. We have a situation where there's an employee that works, wants to work as a van driver, but is also working, hold on. Oh, he also works in the, here in the, for the cable studio. So in order to hold 2 jobs, one of them has to be declared a special municipal employee, and the one that makes the obvious sense is a van driver, because that's a job that people would come in and out of. So I'm asking the board just to declare the van driver position as a special municipal employee. And that allows people that hold that job and some other job. There'd usually be 2 part-time jobs, usually a retiree or something like that.
Any questions from the board?
I have one question, Mr. Chairman. Are we doing a special employee, not a special position?
It's a special, it goes with the position, not the employee.
It goes from position, not the
So
employee.
so that position is now a special municipal position.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question through you to Mr. Curran? By the board voting tonight to make that position a special employee position, a special municipal employee position, this individual leaves, are we able to fill that with a non-municipal employee if
Yeah, it can be, yes.
I just wanted
Yeah.
clarification. So we're not looking for another vote back
No.
in, say, 6 months if
No.
this individual does leave and then we have to back. So it's not tied, it can either be somebody non-working for the town or someone that has 2 part-time jobs for the town is able
Right.
to fill this. Okay,
Right.
just wanted to confirm that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Well, I just speaking with the council, I know they have difficulty getting van drivers down there. This is something, they have the vans and they're really, it's difficult to get drivers. So if we have somebody in-house, that can help facilitate that and help down at the senior center, especially when they need to get people to appointments and stuff, I think it's something that we should definitely consider.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the special municipal position of Council on Aging driver.
All right, I got a motion. Do I get a second?
Second.
Second. All right, motion is second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. It's approved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And next, we have some donations.
Yep.
So the Friends of the Elderly have donated $50 to purchase coffee for the men's yoga class in memory of Bob Newton. So you just need to accept that, and we could send a letter of thank you to the Friends of the Elderly.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay.
And the next one is a $30 donation in memory of Joan Hansford from Susan Frazier that's to the COA.
All right.
Motion to accept with gratitude.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
And the next donation is a check for $50 from the Friends of the Elderly. That's donated to, hold on a second. So it's there's a $50 donation from the Friends of the Elderly to the COA. And then and why don't you vote on that one first, I guess? Doesn't say.
So motion to accept with gratitude.
Second.
All right, I got a motion from Mr. Mackey, second by Mr. Holland. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
And then there's a donation of $100 from Frank and Ann Grimaldi to be split between the Friends of the Elderly in memory of Robert Newton and the Veterans Association.
So that was, I believe, what we just voted on. They gave
was?
Yeah, they gave a $100 check to the Friends of the Elderly with the intent of 50 of it going to the Veterans Association or the
Yeah.
Veterans Department, and that 50 was.
It's kind of, the way this is worded is,
Yes, yeah. I had to read it like 3 times.
all right, well then,
Do
why don't you
want
make
a
a motion
Do
then?
you want a motion to accept the donation to the veterans? You did the first one, correct?
So that was the
Oh,
one donation.
all right, I just wanted to clarify.
One donation.
Okay.
So you still have a $50 one to vote, right?
Nope, because
Nope,
one
we're
went to the Friends of the Elderly,
All right.
which we don't need to accept. Friends of the Elderly cut $50 of that $100
Okay,
check
all right,
as a
all right.
donation to the Veterans.
Correct.
All right.
It's usually the way it's written.
Mr. Curran, you're good.
I'm first.
Yeah.
Either way, somebody's getting some donations and we approved them. So, all right. All right. Okay, I think we're on to, I don't think we have any more donations. I think we're on to town manager.
Okay.
We're moving right along, so take your time. I know you've had a long day.
Here it is. Okay, just a short report. So on Thursday, there was a street closure, Main Street closure. It was a tractor trailer that snagged a wire and took down a telephone pole. And the street was closed, and that service was restored around 9:30 that evening. Economic Development Committee, my office has been invited. I'll be at the next EDC meeting on February 25th to discuss how the committee can support the goals of the town, so I'll be going to that meeting. I think one of the goals is to putting out a survey to businesses and residents, so we'll be collaborating with them in that effort. And then probably the biggest thing is the finance director's position's been posted. We've received some applications, and we are, in the interim, the former director, Al Rigo, is still coming in on a weekly basis, 1 day a week to help us with the transitional period. And then snow, there was I want to give a big thank you to the DPW for all of the work they've been doing. They've really been put to the test this year with snow. I think I was looking on the news the other night, and if we get any more snow, we'll be in the top 5. I think 2015, there was 110 inches. We're at like just under 50-something inches. So it's been a tough winter, but I think the DPW has really stepped up, done a great job. I just asked the public to bear with us on the sidewalks, as I noticed that there's just nowhere to put the snow. So it's going to be very difficult for us to clear those sidewalks, even with we do have 2 pieces of equipment now, but it will be difficult. But hopefully some of the warmer weather will help us do that. But they've done a great job. We've been working closely with the school department. They've had 2 closures. I don't know what happened. I was in a meeting, but I know they were talking about what's going to happen tomorrow. Does anybody know if the schools are open? They're open. Okay, good. It's a good sign. So I want to thank them for all their efforts, and we've had emergency meetings, staff meetings with the police, fire, and emergency, Pete Smith, as well as Vinny. Vinny takes care of the lots and the buildings. And so everybody's been great. Everybody stepped up, and I want to thank the staff in town and my staff for posting the notices that needed to be posted, and for Robert too, especially as you know I wasn't here. I got home just in time for the snowstorm, but at least I was in warm weather last week, so that was good. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll open it up if you have any questions.
Any questions from the board?
No, thank you, Mr. Curran.
All right, no town council invoice. I will, no minutes. Minutes, okay, and then board member reports. Mr. Russo.
We heard from NIMCOG tonight, so nothing to update there further, but we do have our, what I think will be our final facility committee meeting in 2 weeks with a final report from JCJ. So more to come, and I think maybe not our next meeting, but certainly our end of March meeting where I think things can start to move forward. So more to come. But
Mr. Chairman?
yeah.
Through the chair to Member Russo, I know I missed that meeting, I think you probably did too. Did you hear anything about that?
No, it went really good. It was good feedback. It was just more of an update. I think
Yes.
their final report is to come. March 12th is our next meeting. So I think our next select board meeting is just before that. So again, I think in 2 meetings from now, from us, we'll have a more thorough report.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Mr. Ryder?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just that we have, as Mr. Curran noted, we have an Economic Development Committee meeting tomorrow night. Mr. Curran will be there along with Robert, so we welcome them as some guests. So more to come at the next meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Mackey?
Thank you. I have nothing to report. We will be having the Economic Development Committee meeting, and that's it. Thank you.
Go on.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Right. I just want to echo on your comments about the DPW. They're doing a fabulous job. I know everybody, I think, understands that this has been a large snowfall and difficulty putting it out there. I know we're already starting to get calls on sidewalks. I know the DPW is trying to get out there and get some of them done. But if you have questions, please make sure you call the DPW and contact them. They may not be able to get directly out there. Some of the problems that they're dealing with is the mounds of snow that are out there on the intersections are causing problems with some of the signals. The weight of the snow that's being piled up there is causing, and they have to push that back, and they have to make sure that it's important because it activates like a preemptive service. So when the fire department and the police department's going through, they have those things, and it goes off when there's an emergency vehicle going through. The weight of those snowbanks making it seem like there's vehicles out there. So they're trying to push that back. They're trying to prioritize senior facilities, school buses, crossings, and making sure where people are going through. So I understand everyone would like to have the sidewalks cleared as quickly as possible, but they are doing, they're working very hard to make sure it gets done. And please contact the DPW. They'll take your phone call and you'll get an answer to, when they can get out there. It may not be today or tomorrow, but they're working at it, and hopefully the warmer weather will help. I also want to thank our Assistant Town Manager for filling in. He attended that meeting and he gave us an update, and as we were, as anything that came through, if there was any emergencies, I know we had a couple of water breaks and things like that, did an excellent job of keeping us updated, so I appreciate you filling in. And with that, I have no other comments, so.
Motion to adjourn?
I'm going to take a motion to adjourn by Mr. Russo. Second by Mr. Mackey. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye as well. We are adjourned.